My name is Scott Messina, and you are watching iShowcase Presents. Tonight, we are presenting Krystof, my buddy for a very long time and one of the best.
Thank you.
So let me ask you this, Krystof. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And I know you're from Poland, and I know you had quite a technical upbringing, when it comes to your skills. And tell the viewers a little bit about that.
Well, I was born and raised in the most western part of Poland, about 15 minutes drive to Germany, about an hour drive to Czech Republic. So when you look at the map, it's like halfway between Prague and Berlin.
Okay.
So that's the region of a very high culture, lots of history, lots of tradition, lots of different music. So I grew up going to two schools at the same time. The morning school that all kids are going, learning languages, mathematics, physics, biology, chemistry, all these classes. And then in the afternoons, around 5 p.m., music school. Mm-hmm. So I basically didn't have really childhood in the normal sense of it, because I constantly had to practice, constantly had to learn for two schools at the same time. But I've chosen it, and I love art so much that after graduation, I've chosen music as my major. Mm-hmm.
So it was almost like the Olympics of piano.
Yes, because you had to prepare for recitals, for every semester, public recitals in front of the audience, and everything, all musical material memorized and everything. So it was like regular concerts. So I was trained since kid to that.
I've been playing my whole life too, and I won't even come near a piano when you're in the room.
Oh, come on.
I don't do it. Insecure person, except a great segue into this beautiful piano. I want to tell you the story. So, what was the first song I asked you to play when you got here?
I think it was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and there's a story behind that. This piano is a Sterling. Baby grand.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so Sterling was Steinway's cousin.
Okay.
Who basically, I don't know the exact number, maybe 50 to 100. He tried to go on his own. Mm-hmm. This is one of those pianos that he went out on his own.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's 120 years old.
Yeah, I can tell by playing it. It feels different. It feels you have to get used to it. It's not like you sit down to like a regular piano and pretty much you can just gig around. With the old instruments like this one, historic instruments, you have to sit down and a little bit train yourself into it.
Every time I write a song, I write it on this piano. And there's a reason for this. My grandfather was part of the New York Opera way back in the day. Mm-hmm. Made a lot of friends. During segregation, he used to literally sneak Nat King Cole into the house. Guy by the name of Johnny Marks played on this piano.
Wow.
Johnny Marks wrote Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yes.
So I was doing a little research, and I think 1985, and before he died, he had sold 135 million copies of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Wow.
And then he was quoted as saying it was the worst song ever written. Could you imagine selling 135 million copies of your own song and saying it was the worst? I love that song.
I love all Christmas music.
Well,
the
poem book and all of that came before then. And Walt Disney had something to do with Rudolph back in 1949, 1950. I didn't get too deep into that, but Johnny Marks came over to the house, and it was back in the day, man. Back in the day when people were, smoking cigars, drinking some cognac, and that culture you talked about in Poland. In New York, this was Queens,
yes,
New York Bayside,
yeah,
and that's where my mom was born. And I talked to my uncle the other day, Uncle Paul, and he was telling me he vividly remembers the first time he heard Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was on this piano. So I said, wait a second. did Johnny Marks write Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on this piano, or did he just play it? So I started doing some research, and there's no way to prove. Whoever prove. There's no paperwork.
Of course not.
You know, I mean, I can look at least.
But you can pretty much guess with a good probability.
But my grandmother, this is how I put two and two together. My grandmother ended up, her best friend's husband was the first promoter of that song. So when they came over and he played Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, if he was already promoting the song, that means the song was already written. But he still came over and jammed it, you know?
Yep.
So the mojo, the energy, the synergy, that piano has so much more. I just got it tuned. Really good job. But
yes, he did a really good job. And it's not easy to tune historic instruments like that. It's they don't hold the tuning for a long time neither. And as I said, the mechanics, or even seasoned pianists as myself, I kind of feel intimidated a little bit by the instrument. As I said, I had to
I've
get
seen
used
you
to
play
it.
a Casio keyboard from Walmart. It's not the instrument, it's the player.
Yeah.
I've seen Eddie Van Halen jump on a freaking little ukulele and just wail away. I mean,
absolutely.
You know, it's you could play.
You have to be able.
But he did say when he left, that is the best that piano will ever sound. I was like, okay. I'm like, oh, family heirloom, we're good to go. The story behind it, it's nostalgic, and it's going nowhere. You know, I'm very blessed to have it, and that it was handed down to me. Really, really excited and glad that you came over, that you're going to jam a couple Christmas tunes for us. You know, can't wait to hear what you have.
Okay, let's do it.
iShowcase TV.